Morning, everyone. Thursday, Pashas Kisiso. Yesterday, we discussed the importance of hergo, habits, to invest not in education, not to wait till the child gets that ability to get educated, but in the first place, we have to be mechanech kids with the habits, to give certain habits, positive habits, and let them do them. Let them adopt these new habits. The majority of parents, I would say, the conventional outlook on Chinuch is, parents look at it as a very heartbreaking job, a job which breaks the heart, breaks the emotions. You have some parents just feel that they're losing the emotional, mental balance, and sometimes physical as well. I would disagree on this point, on this nekuda, that to be mechanech kids is quite challenging. It's not simple at all. But the job gets more challenging. The chinuch habonim gets more challenging when the parents are not aware what they need to do. When you know what to do, it gets way easier. I wouldn't say, the challenge is completely being disputed, but it gets way easier. It gets much harder when you're trying to do something, you don't know how to execute it. What's the rules and regulations of the operation that you're in now? Once you get that knowledge, what you need to do, the chinuch gets more easier. It's not such a heartbreaking job. That's the main core why parents feel sometimes guilty, and they feel hurt, and they feel certainly emotional distress when they're being mechanech their kids, because they don't know what chinuch is about. What do we need to do? Every parent needs to know that the chinuch is corresponds to a technician work job. As like a technician, every parent is a technician, and that's clear that if someone's computer or any device gets disabled, no one tries to fix it on his own. You don't try to just get in, and if you don't know what to do, you just don't start to fix it. And if you do, it takes a lot of time and efforts, and you end up in hostility and a big agmas nefesh. At the end, you will be forced to call a good technician to fix your device. The same thing is by chinuch. Chinuch, in order to succeed in chinuch habonim or bonos, to be mechanech them, to be madrich them, to correct their souls and behaviors, a parent needs to be a good technician, needs to get good technician tools, and then use the technician tools, and then you succeed to set up your child in a certain form of manners and behaviors, whatever you wish, whatever the Torah wishes, to be a proper Jew and righteous Jew, and conduct their life with the honesty and emes. So in order for a parent to be a good technician, we need to approach the chinuch with a very deep understanding. Not that deep, but deeper understanding. And this understanding actually is out of box understanding, out of conventional outlook of chinuch is. The deep understanding of chinuch is that the chinuch contains two fundamental components. The number one, it's to get the child to do purposeful action, to tell the child what to do. Of course, sometimes you tell the child what not to do to prevent him of sakunas or danger, but it's not the chinuch. To tell the child what not to do is not considered chinuch. You have to tell the child what to do, to get the child to do purposeful action, as we said yesterday. The second component is to recur the same actions on behalf of the child. Get them to do it. Be'ezer Hashem will discuss it, how to recur the actions on behalf of the child. But that's the two component that it has to be like in front of the parents' eyes almost all their lives. What to do to get the child. I would like to say it again, that rather to tell the child what not to do is also important to prevent the child from danger and so forth, but it won't provide the child with chinuch. What provides the child with the chinuch is what to do, as we said with Shem Toises yesterday, to get the child to the purposeful actions. But it's not enough. You have to recur chazor. recur the same actions, and they have the child kiseda. And then it becomes within him a habit. He will just do it constantly. Medrash, the Rabbeinu Yoin in Sha'ar Tshuva, and Medrash Shmir Masechus Pirkei Avos, are stating this follows, saying as follows: a gewaltige, let's say, gewaltige nekuda. Ki a hergel shoylet al ha'odam. The routine dominates the person. Routine dominates the person. In truth is, when we look as adults, we look in our own life, we see that majority of action that we are doing, we're doing only because of the routine. Let's say someone was living in one apartment, then he moved in different apartment. All of a sudden, one day you see like you're just going towards the direction of your old apartment. What's going on? You don't live there anymore. But just the routine, The hergel habit. The hergel it comes from the lotion regel, feet. The feet are leading us, not because we are without any consciousness, just because of hergel, just because of the habit. And that's the power of habit. Habit, it just leads the person and guides the person without any consciousness, just because I'm used to this routine. So number one, I would like to bring out clearly this point that we should not don't try to educate the child, and don't wait till the child gets the mental ability to catch what you're educating him. Let's say some parents went to age 5, 6, and then they teach, but it's not. Just get him to adopt this habit, good positive habits, let him do it. To be a little bit more deeper in this concept, as we said in the first year, B'Shem, the pasuk from Iyov. Iyov came to a maskuna after having so many isurim. He came to a maskuna. Peira udam ivulay. Peira udam. Peira is lushan wild. A person is wild, was born. That means that be'etzem, when a child is born, he comes to this world with inborn habits. What's the habits? Habits is being wild. That's the child's nature. He already being born with installed nature of being a wild creation. So to rewire and to correct is not by education, because to rewire the bad habit, you will never do it with education, as you know, as it's even in an emotional field, like a more psychological field. People who are addicted to something, the therapy does not go by educating them how bad the action is, because people know that, let's say that hitting drugs is not good. People know, and consciously they know that the action that they're doing is not something which is correct action. So, and they perceptionally and consciously they know it, but still they can't help themselves. So to take away, to confiscate bad habit, you never do it with education. You just do it, you replace it. You encourage, we'll talk about the encouragement, but you encourage the person just to take a different habit, just follow up with that. Just take different action, follow up with that. And as more a person follow up with a new habit, as more the other habit just falls back. And the same thing with the child, everybody said. Remember, no children are being born tzaddikim lach. Meaning it's that tzaddikim lach, amko kilim tzaddikim, but they're not born being calm kids. Although sometimes we do see that kids some kids are more calm than others, but inherently all the kids are being born and coming to this world with inborn nature being wild. And in order for us to rewire that nature, we have to just give them different habits, more positive habits, train them to adopt, to train them to a new habit, and encourage them, do nachamul, the action until he just takes a different, more positive habit. Meaning to say, when a child comes to this world, he comes with inborn way of talking, more wild. Everything comes from all his action, because a child is wild. All the action the child releasing goes in that pattern wild. He talks wildly. he eats wildly, he walks wildly, everything comes wild. So our avoider is to give him hergot different habits, how positive habits, how to eat, how to talk, and how to do stuff. Again, we should not wait till the child gets the ability of understanding and be masber him and explain him how important this, whatever. First get him going. First get him do habits, nachamol. And at the end, when the child gets more mature and gets more, gets more ability, more brain capacity and emotional capacity, then you start to educate him. So that's the way we eat. Why we eating this way? So you start to explain him, but let him first do, and then the explanations comes, not the vice versa. Don't teach him and then do, because it just won't work. To be a little more deeper in this concept, the importance, the Großkeit von Chinuch, von the habits, Peilas, actions, doing, it's the main source for it will be Sefer Chinuch. Sefer Chinuch states in Parshas Boy, Udam nif al kefipi Eloisov. That means that the external behaviors, external action the person does is influences his internal bounds. Meaning to say, if someone externally acting wild, or someone externally talks certain language, let's say he talks bad, he releases bad words from his mouth, or he talks lashon hara, or anything on negative, being negative, he can remain happy. A person who talks negatively, he can't remain happy internally, because his external actions are influencing his internal feelings, and the way he talks, that's the way he will feel. A person who talks let's say kfira, he denies Eibishter, chas v'shalom, even though he just does it externally for a joke or just stam, it will influence his internal belief in Hashem. Anything, the external has much to do with your internal. So therefore, udan nifo kefipi eloisov, as more externally you will do positive action, it will influence your internal level and internal matzav. So it will follow up with your actions. Sefer Chinuch talks about chesed. Some people are having a hard time to do chesed or tzedakah chesed. You don't have that. Chesed needs to be done with a very deep understanding that you really care for that person you're doing chesed for. So, but some people lacking that feelings for other person. So what do people should do? Should not do chesed until I get that internal feelings to feel for others? So Sefer Chinuch says, no, you do chesed, you do good deeds. So as more good deeds you do, it will influence your internal matzav, your internal feelings, be mashpia on internal feelings to get to that direction, that you will feel good for other person, and anything in life. And more psychological field, they call this workshop outside in. Outside, when you do outside external action, it will influence your inner feelings and be mashpia your inner feelings. So that's I would like to make it very clear, this rule. It will be easier for parents, for us, including myself, it will be easier for us to know what we need to do. We need to do this too. Chinuch contains two very important components. It's just these two components, not more. It's number one, to get the child to do purposeful action. As I gave the example yesterday, let's say it's very normal that we see the kids eat very messy, and they just sometimes you feed the whole everything, instead of the food should go in the child's mouth, it goes on his dress, on his shirt, and his pants, and all over the place, all over the kitchen, all over the chairs. It comes from that wild behavior that's inborn in the child. It's not really the child's fault. That's his nature. He was born with Pera Odom. He's a wild creation, and that's how the wild creations is. They're just messy. They just throwing things around, and they just don't care about to keep the place clean. So we don't say to a child, "Oh, don't eat this way. Don't. It's messy. It's Sometimes say you eat like a chazer." You don't say those statements, because those statements just confirming his wild creation and get that satisfaction. Oh, you confirm really who I am. So you just confirm who the child is. But we're not looking to confirm that wild creation. We're looking to pull out the child from that wild creation that he was born with. So in order for a parent to rewire this eating behavior the child eats, it's to give the child the opportunity to adapt different habit how to eat by using these words as follows. Oh, Shayfula, that's the way how we eat. We take a fork, we take a spoon, we keep the food locally on the table, on the plate. We don't just, that's how we eat. And self-understood, the one work for one time, and second time, a third time. Patiently, we just have to recur, nachamu, and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until it just becomes a habit. And just that wild behavior, that inborn wild behavior just disappear, and he will follow up with his new habit in eating. So is, let's say, the kids walk, the scream, let's say, right? Expressing their feelings. They scream for, like, start to yell and scream. So self-understood that again, this screaming is not coming from his inborn nature, als para Adam. That's just how the wild creation do. Meaning to say, when you take when animal, a pet experiencing certain pain, it starts just to scream. Even that's how the wild creation expressing their pain. They scream, they yell. So it should not be, again, the parent should not tell the child, "Oh, you're screaming like a chaya," because this statement just confirming to a child that he's taka wild. And you're right, I'm taka wild. That's I was born with. I came to this world with this inborn nature of being wild, and you confirming it. You're just actually encouraging me to follow up with my nature. So the proper way will be more effective way, more positive way, more a way which will bring the results to parents to see actually take a positive result, is to tell the child that's the way how we talk. That's the way how we talk, and that's how we express. Self-understood, again, it needs to be one time, it won't be enough. Just patiently, and needs to be repeated again and again and again, and actually showing the examples how you talk and how you eat. Avada is self-understood, again, the parents can contradict their sayings, meaning to say, if the father himself or the mother himself don't know how to eat properly, and they're not well educated, well trained how to keep food locally on the plate and eat with the fork and the spoon, about the child will dispute the message, because just not just the message, and you can be solicitor, so you can contradict yourself. Self-understood is if the parents behave the way they talk, and the train the child to behave the same, the repetition will majorly help for child to adapt this new positive behavior of eating and talking. Again, it's a very powerful workshop, which maybe we don't see it momentarily at the time, right away, but with the time we do see major results, very, very good results. Remember what I said before, routine dominates the person. You just need to get that patience to take over that routine, to start that routine and just continue, and it just goes in, outside in. The external routine will awake internal desire to follow up with this routine. I would like to point out the last example I gave of kids screaming. It's very common problem that the kids just scream and yell and scream, and sometimes becomes very challenging to calm down the child. So the conventional way how we calm the children when a child who screams, just be saying it, I'm talking about the best scenario. It's just calming down, fine, everything is okay, all is fine, nothing happened, we're all good. But unfortunately, it just escalates the pain, it escalates the scream, and the level goes very high, and then just things goes out of control. So we need to understand what the child wants to hear. What the child wants to hear when the child screams. Again, everybody say that the child screams is not the mishigas. It's not the emotional disorder. It comes from that nature the child came to this world, Pera Odom, wild creation, and wild creation screaming. The Goyen, Vilna Goyen, wrote a letter to his wife and kids, and he very clearly organizes what the proper way of Chinuch. So he has very, very interesting comment in that letter, very interesting line. He's saying as follows: Ki hadibur v'hamidos tzuri hergel rav. Dibur tzuri hergel rav. We think that the smart, Taka Mishnah says that Siyog l'chochma shtika, the number one sign for being a wise person is to stay quiet. However, interesting that the Goyen says Dibur tzuri hergel rav, meant to say, in order to know how to talk, how to communicate, you need a lot of hergel, you need a lot of habits to recur and just do repetition on positive way how to talk. Tzuri hergel rav. The first number one thing that comes down from this growth, that to train the kids and really make them adopt the new behaviors, it takes time. Hergel rav. It's hergel rav, a lot of efforts and hergel. But interesting, the Goins does not say that you have to shut down the child. You need to just train him how to talk, and this takes time. What to talk, to put the heart, how to express, to put the mind, how to express. You have to educate. You have to train the child how to express his feelings. Again, when the child screams or cries, we need to understand right now. We need to perceive it and look at it as something. Something hurts the child. Something is there, because even the wild creation, even the animals don't yell and don't scream when they're in serenity, when they feel good. Anything of this, any creation, even the wild creation, screams only because something hurts him, hurts it, right? No one screams for goodness, for no reason. We attack our parents as adults. We perceive that the child screams stam fashlisim. When the child when they're taking away a lolly, a candy from a child, the child starts to scream and yell. We think stam shrad fashlisim. Stam just screaming for no reason. But it's because we don't perceive that confiscating a candy, taking away the candy from a child, is a pain, because to our brain capacity, mental capacity, we don't perceive it as a problem. But for the child, it's a problem, it's a pain. So we have to relate to the child's pain. In truth, any pain, even pain that people have and we think that it's serious pain, is also Ba'ayna Hashem is also not the real pain, because had we live our life and conduct our life with the proper emunah, we also never scream, right? Obviously, certainly any pain has let's call not important for others. The pain what one person has is not important for others, and goes the whole world, right? But we have to relate that yes, it's like for me taking when you take away the candy should not be a reason to scream, but for child, yes, because right now that's his biggest problem. He doesn't have the candy, and we just have to. In this, we need to accept our job is how to train the child to invest proper emotionally in this screaming, to level it properly towards the event. I mean to say is, again, when a wild creation gets hurt, it just screams wildly. Because wild creation doesn't know how to level the screaming part, and according the not every event requires screaming, not every event requires crying, but the animals, let's say, they don't when they get hurt, even a mild discomfort, they just scream, they just bite, they're overreacting. So that the child also overreact, but this overreaction is ignited by a very valid reason. We just need to relate to the reason. He doesn't have a koyak. The child, because of his brain limitations, the child does not know how to distinguish that here you scream, here you express, here you talk. It doesn't know this. Child the brain is still limited, so it just screams, right? So it's very important as the Goyen says, dibur tzuri hergel. It's very important to educate, to train the kids how to express the feelings. Meaning to say, when example for it will be, when the child, well, let's say, was confiscated, his candy was confiscated, or the ice cream fell down, or someone kidnapped him, you don't just say, it's good, it's fine, forget about it, nothing happened. That's of course not. That's of course not. Certainly you tell the child to tell me what's the problem. Or you don't just listen what he's screaming. Head on, listen what the child is screaming, and then just accept the words, accept the screaming, and just go repeat it again. Repeat it again. Yeah, you see the major as a magic. When you don't just respond right away to the child's pain, just first record the words, the pain that child is experiencing right now, and just replay it again with using certain words. You will see the child calms down. You don't even have to say that's how we express our pain. It just the child will get that's the way how we express when the candy was confiscated from the red, and just use the most positive words how to express, how to communicate, and how to express the feelings, but not shutting down. Schreinisch, don't scream, shut down, and using any other words which is disputing and rejecting the child's pain. It won't be. It can bring to very negative results in the future. Actually, I would say even more than that. I think that according to my experience working with people, the number one issue with what people are suffering from, it's a lack of being able to express their feelings, or positive or negative. People just don't know, and that's number one problem in marriage lives. Not husbands or wives just cannot express their feelings openly and directly. It's not their fault, because they were never trained how to express their feelings. But the biggest chesed you can do to your child is to train the child how to express the feelings. Express your pain, also express your positive feelings, right? We think that expressing your positive feelings, it's not that less important than negative. However, it's not. The child just needs to be trained how to express the feelings. And I wouldn't say that just saying thank you Hashem, it will be enough here. Rather, you have to thank Hashem, but also you have to show the appreciation to your parents or to other people who provided you with certain stuff. The reason Benodon Lachaveiroi, it trains people to have a relationship with Hashem. So thank you Hashem, it's a very good workshop. However, it's not always enough to train the kids to express their feelings, positive feelings. And it's actually, when they're growing adults, when they get married, and it's sometimes, when the husband gets for wife something, or the wife does for husband something, and it's lacking that communication skills to express positive feelings, to show that you receive from the spouse, it can cause certain conflicts in marriage lives. The biggest chesed you can do for your child, one of the biggest chesed, far more important of eating, and it training the child how to talk, to express positive feelings, and also expressing negative feelings. Just to, as the going said, God did not write any extra word in his letter. Whatever he wrote in his letter, he felt that it's important for his family to know. And one of the things that he felt it's important to know is that dibur tzorich hergel rav. We have to train the kids how to talk. If you won't train the kids how to talk, they will be just talking wildly, with a very, expressing this feeling in a very bullying form, or very certainly not a very hurtful form. And of course, it causes conflicts in school and later marriage life. So when the child screams at the younger years, don't dispute the pain. Don't tell the child it just will be okay, forget about it, it's not important. Anything with child screams is important. It's important. The same way that certain things is important for us, but not important for other people. Certain pain that we are experiencing is not important for higher level people. The same thing, we have to understand that certain things are important to a child, although it's not important for us. but it's important important for a child to cry and scream. Remember, no one screams and cries for no reason. If people scream and cry because there is a reason, we just acknowledge the reason and relate and talk to the language the other person talks, to talk the language the child talks. Even for you, this lolly or ice cream is not important or anything else, but for a child is important. It ignites the pain and leads to cry and scream. And we just have to invite the child, hear what he says, hear what he's screaming and crying for, and patiently and just replay again. See, record the pain and replay it again. The pain. Just don't, without any solutions. Don't give him any solutions. The child wants to hear that you hear his pain, you understand his pain. But replaying this pain again to a child, you make him hear, you make him understand. You actually, let's say, brainwashing him in a positive way, that you really understand, you hear what he has to say. You take him part in his pain. And that itself validates the child, and that itself trains the child how to talk, because the words you're using goes into subconscious brain of the child and actually installs in the child a new behavior, a new habit, how to express in more positive form, in more effective form, their positive or negative emotions. So that's what the girl is saying, and it's one of the biggest chasodim that the parent can do to the child, to train the child how to express positive or negative emotions, anything else in life, how to express excitement, how to express when you're receiving something, just express. And as more we invest in that, as more we are providing for our kids, more in future, current and future, for them a more pleasant and joyful life. Kultul Bez Hashem will continue our share on Sunday. We have to Shmaya, a good Tug, a good Shabbos,